let us call the meeting to order. Everybody have a chance to read the minutes from last time? Yes. All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll motion to approve.
All right, and a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, and we do not have any visitors today, so we can move on to that. And now we're moving into the CID.
Yeah, the CID conversation, Madam Chair, I would recommend we move in closed session. So
Right.
all someone needs to do is move to go into closed session and then say all that gobbledygook for reasons why. That's very simple.
Okay,
Allison. what's this?
I move that we move into closed session. The attorney-client privilege communications are closed.
And also for real estate.
And real estate under Missouri statute 610.02.
okay, a motion to move into that closed session.
Is there a second?
I'm sorry.
Second.
Oh,
I'll
second,
second.
okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, so I need to close the door.
We need to close the door. Chris, I gave you, we sent you the other Zoom link. Can you just go to that? Sorry.
Oh, you sent it to me? Okay.
It should be from Fran last night. You should have a second Zoom link.
This is all that I have. Let me look here. Fran, I got. Okay. I will try these. Thank you.
You're the computer.
Okay. All right, now on to the streetscape project.
Streetscape project, first of all, the county has scheduled their public hearing that we agreed to be a part of helping to promote. It is next Wednesday, 4 to 6 p.m. It is virtual. It's not in person. I've sent out I think some of you have got the mailed invitations. We have not even received the mailed invitation here at the city hall yet. So that's why I sent out information to you all. We will have it in our Friday page from the city newsletter and also on social media, but I would encourage you to have your business owners attend if they have any questions or concerns. This is the time. It's required because of the federal grant that is paying for the project. So that's why this hearing exists.
I did meet yesterday, excuse me, with our county council representative, Lisa Clancy, and encouraged her to attend. She said she'll be on, and we talked a little bit about the project since this is a county road, just so she also knows keeping it on her radar a little bit more than I believe had been true in the past.
On this project update, we do have an RFP that will be going out later this week or early next week for engineering services for our parallel project for the light poles and such like that. I just keep calling it the light poles, but it's far more than that. Once that engineering firm is on deck, and we'll can keep you all up to date with that as Ms. Tyler and I work through that. We'll need to then narrow down to our scope of sort of what type of poles, we're looking at and things like that. So just be thinking about that as we go through.
Because this all relates to the petition that we're going to be putting up.
Certainly could relate to the petition, yes. I mean, the petition will be generated in such a way that will encompass all the project. But sooner or later, the engineer's gonna need to know, do you want tall light poles, do you want short light poles? Do you want, so we'll need to start getting down to a sense of feel. And those other things that we brought up, the clock that Chris had, if we want to include that. Where would public art go if we want to do such in a way? I think it's just to be blunt, the city, I think in Old Webster, I can't remember if the city paid for some of the pads or if that was through the district, for like some of the different installations in places. So we'll have to talk about those things. In that as well, the selection of the article, where was I going next? On that one? The 25 budget that you all have seen, we've had to make it's not one change. I want to be very clear. We have put in our capital plan $397,000. That is the portion that we agreed to put towards the county's grant match, right? When we agreed with the county. So we'll probably add a couple $100,000 on the capital plan out in 27. That's not this year. But for the parallel project, it's going to be higher. Costs have just ballooned on all of these processes as well. So we're seeing that we're going to end up needing more in that line item to help both pay the county, but also then do this project. Wherever the funds come from, I'm just saying you're going to note that change in increasing the number. Really also for the mayor. So she's like, why did that number go up so much? Part of it is
give me a heart attack.
No, not at all, not at all. But it is part of the reason why we sort of prompted this conversation as well. How do we take a small district and have a really effective way of being able to fund doing things and not have you all you know, feeling like you are left out, because you shouldn't be left out, so. That's a lot there. Is that good? You got it all? Ms. Tyler, anything I missed?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So also with the timing, because won't this streetscape project need to go behind the MoDOT project? Don't we want to install?
The county dot,
Yeah.
the county
the
project?
county
Yes.
project. So
Yes, yes,
So that timeline should be communicated with people so that they don't think it's gonna be happening.
next year.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's a 27 project, so we'll definitely have to, I think thank you, that's a very effective thing.
So the start date is 27.
Is still planned at early 27, according to the county.
It just keeps creeping up.
Yeah. There's
So
been
that-
22 years, we can wait another.
I'm sorry, it's there. Now,
Right now, we have a bunch of county projects in 27. That's the Clean Station Road timeline.
everything we asked for about 3 years ago is now coming to be about 27. The Clean Station Road, Big Bend is going to be dieted at 26 or 25.
I think it's 25, yeah.
So it'll get its road diet from McLeod to Lockwood next year. That's literally just a restriping and such.
What are they doing on the police station?
They're, mostly it's repairing the road,
From where to where?
from, she and I were talking about this, it's either from Newport all the way to Manchester and Maplewood, or it's from Big Bend. So that little, we couldn't figure out whether that little
Well, I'm at
slice is in there.
Tuxedo and police station, but that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
Good.
to the south, Watson to Wheel comes up in 27 as well. That will all be ripped up and redone, so. But yeah, so I think the timeline, it's on that website that I provided and such. It's really important to don't have folks thinking it's gonna happen next year. And in fact, that's, I think, very helpful for you all, is that the SID may have a year, maybe a couple years of revenue generation potential before you have to outlay, you know, the big chunk of money. That gives you some big cushion possibilities.
It'll also may be a reason to push to get it set,
Mm-hmm,
you know? So
Right.
we can start collecting.
Okay, the facade improvement parameters, can we table that till
Yep,
next time?
we can
So
do
you
it.
and I have a chance to talk.
Yep. September meeting, yes. So the BDC went and scheduled their coffee right on top of your meeting.
Huh.
Sorry.
We'll make sure to look at the calendars next time.
I
so.
think last time we did that and we just said, instead of the meeting, come to the meeting.
Which you can do.
Well,
we have a lot of
we're having the
more to
CIP
talk about.
discussions. So yours is on the 11th then?
No, theirs is on the
Sorry.
18th, which is our current meeting. I'm suggesting the 11th, which is Wednesday, or the 12th. I don't know if any of you have 9/11 requirements.
It's baseball. Game.
What time is the BDC coffee?
8:30.
8:30.
Since I usually am on the invitation, I better show up.
Does anybody have a preference, the 11th or the 12th? It does not
11th.
matter to me.
I'm fine with either.
Okay, so let's do 11.
Okay. And can we, just asking, since Josh is not here, can we go back to 8 o'clock? Is that fine? This 5-minute extras just hold us up.
I wonder what it was about. No one needs to explain it to me. but-
That was all the new business,
I think
or
we
Madam
did.
Chair.
And in fact, on the August meeting, let's go to 8 AM as well.
That work for you?
Okay, BDC update.
As Eric kind of mentioned, we had our meeting with lawyers and we were pushing or asking about citywide CID. And he essentially said it would be very, very complicated and hard to pull off. And that he hasn't seen a whole city do that successfully, that it really is usually reserved for smaller areas. And, you know, us talking about combining with Old Webster is a little bit of an easier thing, but when you're talking about Maypop or this and that, which those are the people who are kind of saying the loudest, like, we want to be included, we want to be one Webster, it gets tricky. So that's why we are talking about an alternative to that. That would be something that would include everybody in some type of uplifting one Webster efforts. And so we're looking into this economic sales tax, yeah. Which again, that is very preliminary, and we will be introducing that potentially at the coffee. So,
Does that require a citywide vote?
yeah, it would be like Prop W.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And if Brentwood has one, to give you a sense of that, they have one, requires a separate board. You have to list out functionality. So there's infrastructure requirements. It can't just be marketing, but you can use up to 20% of the tax towards those types of efforts. So you can still do marketing and attraction and try to draw people here. But we're gonna have to identify streetscapes, what infrastructure is needed in commercial areas that this tax would be helping to fund. Obviously,
to do that on a citywide
basis, right? And there's a separate board.
that's a lot of input and
Yeah, and being the smallest district again, you kind of lose.
Well, so
Individual people.
yeah, well, and
But it
it's,
would just be a bonus on top. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be, you know.
it would be run by the city. Just to give you a quick back, it's run by the city. There's a board, but it includes a representative of the school system, and also I think the county has a seat on that board as well, under the state law. So
And for CID, we'll be continuing to maybe educate some of the other business districts on how they can switch to CID if they would like to. Also, just from my own talking to people around about the CID through the BDC, there are a lot of other people around town who don't want a citywide CID, like Old Webster doesn't want to be included with us either. So if that is any, but there are a lot of people who think it sounds good as well, so.
City update.
Madam Mayor?
I'll let, sorry, there's a bug on the table. Just one thing, we have we talked about railroads a lot today. We are taking a new tact, with the railroads about maintenance of their properties. And asked for some information about the public health ramifications of leaving things untendered, unmowed, untended trees and whatever. So, Shannon said if they can get you to return the phone call now, we are sending kind of.
Are we specifically talking about the railroad station by us?
The railroad mostly the conversation has been about the other side of the railroad and their inability to maintain, or their inabilities to gives them too much credit, their desire not to maintain there. We have not directly talked about the railroad station itself. We can have a conversation.
Just for historical purposes. So all the trees that are planted along Big Bend, they're by them, and all the plantings that are at the sidewalk that are by Big Bend there, and all the plantings around the building were all planted by our business district with them, with the agreement that they would maintain
The club or the railroad?
the club.
The club.
Because they asked us for assistance many years ago. So we, as a business district, paid to paint their building, plant all those plantings, plant those trees, and we paid for that
Yeah, okay.
with their agreement that they would maintain it, mow it.
Are we having the same problem with with flooding behind Schnucks? Is that the trees and stuff that's up the hillside?
Well, I don't know about the trees of the hillside. We continue to have a problem with flooding related to Schnucks. That's separate from the railroad discussion at this point.
So just that
Yeah,
property right around that. So
Yeah,
it's just an issue
Yeah,
with
it
me
just-
because
yeah.
last year they go on their website and they say, oh, Webster's supposed to maintain this and mow this and look what they're doing to us and for us. They
Yeah.
don't do this.
Yeah.
And that was not.
well, then the Green Space Advisory Commission put
Come in.
together the
And-
volunteers
and-
and, yeah.
That was not. It was
Okay,
just not.
that's
the
good to
agreement.
know.
It was
Okay.
not. And
Do we have written agreement anywhere?
I'm sure I can probably go back in all my files. I don't know if there was a written agreement with them,
But
but I can go back in all the meetings where we.
They would be in the meeting minutes somewhere.
Minutes.
Don't you do that?
And it had to be in the budget that we paid for all that.
Yeah.
that's a pretty good chunk of money.
It was an
Okay.
incredible amount of money to pay, to paint that building and everything else.
Yeah,
And that's why I want them.
That's all right. I can go back and get myself up to speed. Yeah.
Lisa Abel, remember, she really spearheaded all this, and we actually physically went out there and planted all this, we purchased all this, and us as a group went out there, business district group went out there and did all this for them. And then we purchased the trees, and Webster Parks and Recreation District was kind enough to plant those trees that go along between the railroad building and the railroad tracks there, you know.
Okay,
You know what year
thank
that
you.
was?
That's context I didn't have.
Just the year.
That's all right.
Easy
You all,
scratch.
it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm very adept at looking at old minutes about things that I need to learn about that I didn't know. But yeah, why don't, I know that the two of you probably have things and that you might want to add to that. Council is not meeting for a second meeting. This is the time we
Take a deep breath.
try and get out. Well, it's not really so much for us to take a deep breath, because whenever we do anything, there's a whole bunch of staff time that goes into it so that people can schedule vacations and things like that.
Director Tyler.
Oh, no, I thought of one thing.
Sorry.
Sorry. And maybe one of you was gonna say this. The first stage of our comprehensive plan, you know, they came and they met with lots of people. Destination WG website now has their document that reflects the information they gathered. I would strongly suggest you all take a look at it, because there also is an ability to comment on that document if you have thoughts about it. So it should be right there on that website. Sorry, I almost let you all speak and then I didn't, so please go ahead.
Journeytowg.com is the website for the comprehensive plan. Thank you. We knocked that one off. I just want to say Destination WG, the Parks and Recreation bonds, we expect to have bonds in front of the city council for sale in September. So we'll be moving forward on that. And I think by the time we meet next month, our pool should be under demolition. So August 5th is the target date there, and the things are moving forward, I think, on that plan well. I'm looking at the nodding of heads over there. So I encourage you all to stay in touch with us as we look at that. We will be open next May. So come next summer, we'll have a whole brand new space there, which I think, as you all think about the CID and why I brought up Gateway, is not that it's your job to pay for Gateway entrance to the city,
Yeah, I
but
think it's huge.
if you look at that 44 Elm intersection, it's sort of left between MoDOT, their stuff, and what the city has a tiny little piece of there. That's a possibility if we include, expand the CID, you know, including that, that's a possibility there, so.
I'm looking for that feature that's a gateway that completely blocks out that railroad station.
Until we own it, then she's all for it.
So it's a 99-year lease. We started in 1938. So in 2037, we'll be done. It'll be our-
30 years.
Heidi wants to propose a wall.
Yeah. 2037, I just gotta make it that long.
This time, anything from your perspective? You're good? All right.
Do you know what, when you talk about the properties that Schnucks is attached to there, do you know if they're gonna do anything with the Lustron house?
I don't know. Do not know. Obviously, we have now made a designation of Lustron homes.
We have.
I don't know. I don't know what their intents are with the property. I just know they own it, so. Or most of everything except for one.
Okay. So are we good for city update?
We are good.
All right.
Okay.
There was no parking issues. Sergeant Flannery couldn't be here, but I wanted to just double
Nope,
check.
everything's looking
Okay.
good except for the porta potties are still there.
Big,
Get the-
big crowd for 4th of July.
Yeah.
One of the biggest we've ever had.
We did.
It was a fun
Everything
day.
went well, yeah.
We'll get the porta potties out. I don't know why they're still there.
And our next meeting is August 21st. We'll make it at 8 AM instead of 8:05. I will let our friend, do you want to let Chris know that since he left early? Sure. Okay, thank you. Because I will probably let him know that, but I might forget as soon as I walk out.
And that probably needs to be changed in the city.
All right.
As more, and the move of the September meetings.
Mhm.
And this meeting, want a motion to adjourn?
I can do that. Oh,
And
I'll
then-
second.
Should we want a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Everybody?